What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. I'm Nadeska here with Academics and Wayno. This past weekend was the last weekend of summer. So I would say I hope that you guys were out and about enjoying it, but I know that you were just on the internet being ridiculous. Did you guys have fun?
I had a great old time, hung out with a couple friends, but really I was really concerned for the safety of my co-host. I got a bulletproof vest for him, and of course I had to assign a couple of my bodyguards to hold him down, and he's no longer allowed in the trenches. Wait, no, welcome to my life, okay? Welcome to my
Academics,
life.
relax, relax. Words have power. Stop speaking shit like
Oh
that into
my
existence.
god.
I was chilling this weekend. I didn't do too much, but it's been cold, man. It's definitely hoodie season. I gotta go rack up. I'm gonna probably go do that today. Because outside is feeling definitely different. Nothing surprises black people like wintertime every year, and I can feel it coming. So, I'm definitely getting prepared.
I can't believe we're talking about the weather on this show, but don't worry, Wayno, it's going to be like 80 degrees again this weekend. You got a few more days to enjoy it. Just stay off Instagram and everything is going to be fine.
Okay.
Watch out for Chelsea.
Okay.
Wait, what you do, Nadeska?
My family is here. So my nephew just started remote learning today. So
Okay.
it's an interesting change of pace in my household. So
Is Auntie Nadeska like good with tutoring and helping out with schoolwork, or are you one of those people who just Googles it and just tells them the answer like you did?
academics, I'm great with the kids in all aspects. Don't ever question
Just
that
talking
again.
about teaching, baby. What's wrong?
All right, my friends, let's get into the show. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're going to talk a lot more about Kanye today. But let's start with Boosie calling out Kanye for continuing to mention Drake in his rants. So he at him saying, "Why can't you keep Drake out of your mouth?" He said, "I'm going to say it, just stop hating. You're showing straight jealousy, and you don't even have to do that since you're rich." Do you guys feel like at this point, Kanye is just hating on Drake?
I'll lead first here. Everybody know, Champagne's my favorite rapper. Orb's my guy. No slander from him will be tolerated or ever disseminated over this side. But I got to be honest with you, man. Listen, I think my man Kanye is getting a bad. He's looking bad because he doesn't know how to handle stuff publicly. He always said that he's not the best at being an orator, even though he thinks he has great ideas. I also don't think he knows how to play stuff well in the media, whether or not it's a beef competition or whether or not it's a holistic reason why he keeps mentioning Drake. Let's be very clear. Drake dropped a whole album about him. Let's hold that there. Drake dropped a whole album about him, right? Drake last song was about Kanye as well. Laugh Now Cry Later. He's mentioning the Gap. He's talking about certain people at home going crazy. I know some people, they can't decipher anything without going to Genius, but that's about Kanye. Now here's the thing. Drake is taken from the shadow boxing book of Jay-Z. He's a great sneak disser. He'll say some stuff that you'll be punching in the air. But again, if you respond to him directly, you're obsessed, right? So he's constantly rapping about you. He's looking at what you're doing. Trust me, Drake sees what's. Now, if you mention a Gap deal, you see that man just did a really good deal with Gap, right? And you're mentioning, you're jabbing him. Kanye just comes across as he doesn't have what's called couth. Like it just seems like he's just belligerent, crazy, scatterbrained, and that's where I'm gonna hold Kanye down at, because we're acting like this is a one-sided obsession. It's not.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say that, yeah, it's very. I always said that Kanye was obsessed with Drake. I think that he's really, more than anything, upset that he doesn't have a relationship with him anymore. I think that the peaks and valleys that Kanye is reaching, he would love to be able to call Drake, love to be able to like lean on Drake for certain things, and not just to use him, but to just have him around. It's just that you see the changing of the guard a lot, and the thing about it, like you said, the obsession thing, it's just like really funny to me, because I just look at it like, why you keep poking at it? You know what I'm saying? I just think that Drake has a problem whenever he's mentioned. That's the biggest thing that nobody talks
Tread
about.
lightly, Wayno. Tread
Nah,
very
it's
lightly.
not about treading lightly. I got the right to talk about whatever I want to talk about. It's straight
Okay,
up and down.
okay.
I ain't being disrespectful. I'm keeping it 100. I think he has a problem whenever somebody mentions his name that he might not be favorable of. Now the thing about it is, the nigga's a hot topic all the time. He's something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Now with Kanye, I think that what Kanye's forgetting is that, nigga, you Kanye. You can still make all the points in the world without bringing up anybody's name. I think Kanye's just in a space where he feels so free he forgets that when he says things, it makes headlines. Everything he said, every single thing he says. But yeah, the obsession seems to go like both ways for him. I think that Drake is just in a position where, like you said, like the Jay-Z position, where no matter how far he's gotten, he had no problem with like throwing jabs at people, no matter what.
And by the way, I think that's content too. I think Drake uses it as content, but still like he's using it, right? He's kind of still, tapping from that well. If he was really just beyond it, there's many different things. He just had a child, he's experiencing fatherhood. There's a bunch of stuff he could constantly rap about, but he constantly throws jabs around that. I think where Kanye is at right now, musically, he's not the guy anymore. Hasn't been for a while. Kanye, I do believe, as if I'm thinking and I'm seeing him navigate through some of these, industry waters and trying to like supposedly make some power moves. We've seen him try to do it in the political world. We've seen him do it, within fashion to a certain extent. If he's trying to change up the music industry, it almost kind of reminds me of remember like even the slight falling out between Jay Z and Drake when Jay, of course, super powerful businessman, when he was kicking off Title and he needed a bunch of rappers to become owners to like, yo, hey, push this forward. When Drake didn't get on board, there was a little bit of dissension here. I think as what Kanye is talking about, owning your masters, doing this, doing that. I think he kind of knows Drake he's a prize fighter right now for the labels. He needs Drake to kind of almost be on board with the fight, and it would be just way better if he was in his corner. So I do think that's the reason why he
Yeah,
keeps
but
playing Drake.
the thing about Kanye though, ultimately, I just think we just never know what he's doing. Like, I mean, he does great things. It's just that we just don't know like which fight he's fighting. Like I said, remember we saying this before. Last week it was something else. The week before that it was something else. I feel like he's spending all this time on record contracts and masters and all of that this week, and maybe this week he'll do it again, but next week it's gonna be something else. So it's kind of hard to like to take him not to take him serious because a lot of the stuff that he's saying about the contracts does need to change, but he doesn't stay on one thing. It's like
Okay.
all over the place.
So hold that thought, because a lot of people, well, some people are questioning his intentions, although they support this fight for artists to own their masters, of course. So we'll get into his proposal for what a record deal should really look like. But in the past few days, he also declared that he is the head of Adidas. He said he'll bring Adidas and Puma back together and bring me and Jay back together. Then goes on to say all Puma designs are embarrassingly trash, but I will personally design Puma and Adidas and make everything okay. Now, of course, both J. Cole and Jay have done a lot of work with Puma. So he later apologized for saying this, but Dreamville president Ebe responded saying that Cole's basically living in his head rent-free at this point. So Cole's another name that's come up a lot recently. Jay-Z has come up a lot recently. And let's just throw in Hit Boy. Last week, Hit Boy chimed in and said that he's definitely in a terrible publishing deal, right? And he hopes it happens to no one else. But he also said that Kanye has tried to block him in the past because he worked with Beyonce. So he responded to all of this saying, Kanye's on Twitter preaching, I love all of my brothers and we need to stick together. But I feel like Kanye put me in a position where I was battling the system and I was battling with my brothers. He said he felt like he was fighting two oppressors, corporations, and someone who's supposed to be a true mentor to him. So what do you guys think about his intentions here?
That's the thing. It's like I don't know what his intentions are because I'm also hearing that he's trying to sell good music. Now, if you're trying to sell good music, first bid is probably going to be Universal Music Group, right? Because good music is under Def Jam. Now, if this is all oppression and all of that, like, why would you put like the same? Like, that's the thing. You can't call out everybody else because now niggas is like, well, we want to see your contracts. Like, we want to know what you were signing people to over at Good Music. I've never really heard anybody displeased with their deal from Good Music, but we've all heard different people from Designer and others displeased with how Kanye handles their shit. You know what I'm saying? So because he's so into what he has going on. So my only question, I don't really know what his intentions are other than to kind of help people out. But yeah, I mean, I felt like Hit Boy should have been way closer in a lot of situations to Kanye for a long time to come. You would think that he would want to build him to be the next Kanye as a producer, and to see that they had a fallout because Kanye's excuse was, it wasn't that you was working with Beyonce, it's that you was working with Beyonce and I didn't know about it and you was signing me. So what? Didn't y'all make the song click? Shouldn't you know that y'all are all working together? You know what I'm saying? So it kind of just makes me just look at Kanye again as just like he's really just all over the place. Now he's running a lot of good races, and I feel like he wants to get to the finish line with some shit that he's making points on. But ultimately, is it this? Is it presidency? Is it changing the fabrics and the fills and shit? Like I don't. Is it Uchi Wally Wally? Is it one mic? I don't know where to go with this nigga. Like you know what I mean? I really don't.
So one question for you guys. A lot of times, we've had this conversation here in the past. Whenever an artist starts publicly talking about their label situation or making threats, you always say that it's because they're probably trying to renegotiate a deal and they feel like this is a good way to apply pressure. So how much of this do you think is genuinely him fighting for all artists versus him just trying to possibly renegotiate or get his own masters?
I don't think. I mean, okay. So to the first point, I don't think it's because of a renegotiation, but that might go into the second part of what you said or asked. I do think he's trying to get his own masters, right? And I think he's kind of exposing the system of, the fact that he's such a legendary artist and he doesn't own his masters. So maybe he's going to just try to take on the system as a whole. Still, I do think him fighting this fight right now, and even though I don't think he's that active in music because he's such a powerful voice just in entertainment alone, I think we've had these conversations before where people point out some of the, inconsistencies with the music record industry, and we never really see change. Again, Kanye is one of the few people who could affect some of the people who are actually sitting on the board of these people, and not necessarily affect them, but possibly get them to react. When he's shown certain text messages, which honestly is a little bit of invasion of privacy. He's shown you he's not talking to whoever runs Atlantic. He ain't talking to her. He ain't talking to her boss. He's not talking to her boss's boss. He's trying to, the people he's trying to speak with are of the highest order, which not saying he doesn't have, I always said Kanye is self-serving first, but which billionaire or millionaire isn't? Then if their goals and causes align with public interest or the interest of others, they usually sometimes go forward with their plight. I do think he wants to change shit up, but will he change shit up? No. Do I think he's gonna go as far as being completely selfless till he gets to that point? No. If Universal gives us his masters today and says shut the fuck up about everybody else, I'm pretty sure he'll be quiet next week. But at least
you think so? I think he'll find something else next week.
No, he'll be quiet about this. He'll leave this one alone. You get me? So again, he needs to have a horse in the race for him to fight for everybody else. But I do think what he's fighting for is super important. Like, there's a lot of fucked up shit. Like the biggest example he gave, which, all salute to Hit Boy, but I do think those are minuscule issues. Those are issues between men who obviously him and Kanye had a falling out, or Kanye felt a certain type of way and he felt a certain type of way. But that's really small on the scale of things. Universal Music Group, they own at least 1/5 of Spotify, because they're licensing the content to Spotify. How comes the artists who they're leveraging their catalog to license basically don't have no share of that pie? I do think there's, if we really into ownership and black entrepreneurship, and we're talking about all these businesses and we're talking about even the United States of America, which is built off the backs of black men and black women, how could you not kind of want him to fight this fight, even if he has a selfish purpose at the end?
Yeah, I mean, that's good. I mean, but a lot, and the thing about it though is like, for everything that we're talking about, a lot of our own put us in these same positions. So we got to start speaking about that as well. We talk about a lot of these bad deals, a lot of us put each other in bad deals before we even get into the building. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do think there's a little bit of responsibility he has to take, because he's an executive, still is, obviously. Himself, he owns a label. He's signed a lot of people who are very successful or had success. He needs to take some responsibility, have some atonement, if he's really going forward with that. If somebody is sounding good that is a little bit unhappy, he should let them out. Let whoever go free. He should try to rectify some of these deals if people are unhappy about it that's signed to him. That's the only way it could at least look on face value that he's really fighting for the cause, other than some bullshit. But still, I can't knock the whole hustle. Okay?
Okay.
Well, he did outline his 7 points for what he thinks.
I thought those were good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because I
Who's
got
that?
lost somewhere halfway through because I don't like legal speak, but at least the first one, he's saying artists should, own their copyrights and recordings and songs and then lease them to record labels and publishers for limited terms, which is cool. So let's see. Hopefully he really pushes forward with this. In the meantime, Mace
Well,
wants an apology for.
wait, hold on. Just on that point, like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
he made some really great points. Like, only in the music industry is it so standard that you literally sell the rights to your intellectual IP, which is in this case your music. And most people do licensing deals, but listen, you sell it to them, they own it for a lifetime, right? There's no plan to return it to you, and usually, even if you gain enough capital or success like Kanye to try to buy your shit back, they look in your face and they give you a middle finger and tell you, no, nigga, get the fuck out of here. Because we need to leverage this for some other shit we got going on. I do think he has a point with that. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, of course. And if nothing else for upcoming artists, this is a lot easier to understand than reading through your usual legal jargon. So hopefully this gives them a little bit more information. Last thing on this Kanye topic, Mace feels like Ye owes him an apology. Remember when he said, don't leave while you're hot? That's why Mace screwed up. Still a fire line. But anyway, Mace said, much of what you're feeling has been expressed before. But when I was saying it, the same system and mindset that you're fighting against today used to shame me for leaving the very same system. I know today you may see it differently. Fair enough. But do you feel like an apology is really needed here?
I feel him, but Mace, you came right back and went to G Unit. You know what I mean? Like, I feel you, but
Welcome
come
back.
on. Yeah, like,
Shout out to Mace.
Nah. Kanye can't be a hypocrite even in this fight. I like the fight. I love this fight that Kanye is doing. Trust me. I don't think all the politics stuff. I think he's really scatterbrained. Here, I think he's hitting everything on the head. I think he's expounded on shit. Him having those 7 points clearly has an assistant or somebody around because he's never this cohesive or explanatory. But I do think not only is he hitting everything on the head. I think he's right. He's right. He's right about everything he's saying, but he can't be a hypocrite. He has to apologize to Mace. Because there were times that people who were caught in the system. And when you're in the system and you get all the millions, I looked through his contract. Man, that man got like a $10 million advance at one point. You don't want to hear nobody tell you that the system is corrupt when you pocketing those big ass loans. But when you're on the opposite fight now you see the different way. So you should apologize.
Apologies mean nothing, man. Apologies
What?
is nothing but fucking words. Oh, if you need change behavior, like if he wants to include Mason things, cool. But who cares about a fucking apology, man? Apologies don't mean nothing, man. Nobody care about no apologies, academic.
Wait a minute. So you've never issued an apology that you meant? Wait, no, because I'm counting.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that I haven't issued an apology. I'm just saying as I get older, what I understand about apologies is that a lot of people apologize just to get themselves out of fire. And I feel like, especially in business and in public, like when people got to do things in public, it's real. You only really apologizing because you got caught. So all I'm saying is this: for all of that shit that Mace is probably thinking, maybe Mace should be included in the fucking Sunday service. I'd rather that than an apology. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wait, here's the thing that's different from this apology than most other apologies. Most apologies like, yo, listen, you're in a privileged position and now you come under fire, so you need to apologize to get out of the being under fire, the hot seat, right? With this particular apology is we all grow and evolve. We all change a bit. And our mindset evolves or change, or we see things differently. If you thought like A and you used to chastise people who thought like B, and you've grown to understand and comprehend what the people that think like B was thinking, you should apologize if you were offensive to them at some point. You don't think so?
you the last person to speak on apologies. Get out of here with that shit.
For real, no. I apologize. No, yo, listen, I do. Apologies when growth is there, bro. I do think it's necessary. I think Kanye is very different, and he's seen things very different, even from a business perspective. I think he's talking business all throughout, even when he talked about the Travis Scott McDonald's deal.
Are we done?
He's
Because
talking
I'm Kanye out in the dust.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit surprised. I'm surprised. I would never expect academics to be the guy in support of apologies. I love it. Fan question for you guys.
I love entrepreneurs. He going crazy right now. For the right reason.
All right. Fan question. Everyday struggle y'all haven't done on the clock in a while. Migos are fresh candidates. Seems like they've lost a lot of heat during 2020. Wait, no. Thoughts?
The Migos, man, oh man, they
Are the Migos on the clock?
Yes, they're definitely on the clock. I feel like the Migos are definitely on the clock. It's kind of crazy because I think we expected such a big year from the Migos, And then earlier in the year, we were kind of excusing the type of years that people would have because of COVID. But people still been out here putting in work. You know what I'm saying? People been still out here been putting in work. And the Migos have dropped a nice amount of records. They've been moving around, but they catch more headlines for shit that ain't got that's not related to music than their music now. And it used to be the other way around. I love the Migos. I would love to see them go on another run and show people why they're so legendary and why they claim to be so legendary for over the years. I think they backed up a lot of their claims. But yeah, it's time to show and prove. I think that, if the Migos don't get out here, and maybe not the end of this year, but by the top of the year, if they're not moving like the way they used to, people definitely gonna start questioning those claims, like on a higher level.
The Migos are absolutely on the clock. To be honest, at the end of the year, that might be when the clock strikes 12, and they might be Cinderella, literally. Okay. What's happened with the Migos, and I could go back to my point I was trying to make about Travis Scott. They were the hottest group. Let's just call them artists, hottest artists on earth. After Bad and Bougie, after a really successful run of really great singles, then at that point, we saw them start. They started licensing and selling the cool to everybody else. We saw them with football players here. We saw them doing this. And by the way, great business moves because they're probably getting, you know how music is set up. You're probably going to get more money off ancillary shit, which is shit that you make because of the music, but not in music, than you would get in music. But what happened, and especially with the Migos, and that's why, it's a little bit different for Travis, but that's why I caution it. With the Migos, they were a street rap group. We're used to these motherfuckers in a band or this and third. All of a sudden, these niggas are they're only in the Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills. They look like they've lost the street presence, the street essence. We're seeing Quavo. He looks super happy in love. The music's not even matching what he's got going on. Remember, this thing with hip hop is that hip hop, unlike anything else, that's why when they try to compare hip hop to why can't he just talk about killing people and blah blah? Like you watch like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, it's hip hop. You're talking about a lifestyle. So when the lifestyle no longer matches what you're putting out in terms of content, it feels like the culture. And again, I'm one of the last people to speak for the streets, but I feel like they stopped looking at those men as being kind of like the representative. They lost a little bit of that kind of not only moving around, going to LA, doing all these other things, but also you look at how Offset tried to pursue his own thing. Offset now is a gamer. Offset's on basically a streaming platform just like me. Takeoff is still Takeoff, but it feels a lot different. And I don't know if it's just music could cause that to change, right? I think the music's lacking a little bit. Like, when's the last time we got a really, like, a hood, catchy, classic hook from Quavo?
It's been a minute, and it's like, ironically, needed doesn't really feel needed at this time. I think like it was a good play to have like, Young Boy on the record and all that, but I'm just not seeing the momentum from the Migos that we used to see. I think they still capable of it. I don't equate that to the just them being in the streets, but I think like they're not moving with the times well. You know what I mean? They're not moving with the times well as they once were, and I think that that's just a multitude of what they have going on in their lives. Like I'm happy for Quavo. Like I love to see a man like he running around, him and his lady. They still get into it, but yeah, collectively as a group, them niggas got to band back together and get shit rocking. Because again, like then all of those claims where people was challenging the Migos to be one of the best groups or the best group is going to start looking funny in the light.
Yeah, one thing with the Beatles too, because they call themselves the new Beatles or the Black Beatles. Listen, a 2-year run or a 2-year run at that level is not the thing that's just gonna cement you forever. I'm Even though I said what I said before in terms of like, listen, I think the optics. I think people are looking at them like, yo, they're not living how their music used to be before, and a lot of things is optics. What I will say, we saw Offset do Father 4. We see Quavo seems really happy in a relationship with Sweetie. I think maybe they could evolve. I just think it's super hard to evolve as a trio because usually they're accustomed to, hey, listen, this is what they want from us. You do this, you do this. It's hard to tell 3 stories of 3 different men evolving in 3 different ways. Offset's going through a divorce currently. Like he had a child within the last 2 or 3 years. He got married. Like his life has been very, and you could tell by the album, he was growing and maturing. on a personal level, how do you do that in a group album, especially when now content really matters? We don't just want to hear about whipping up, you know what I mean, in the Pyrex, you're in the bando, and we see you in basically a
Wait.
Beverly Hills Airbnb.
I
So,
mean,
question for
no,
you
we still
guys.
want to hear that. We still
No,
want to hear that. My
well,
point is
no, no,
slightly
no, hold
different.
on, but if we're
But you
hearing it
needed
and
to
we don't
match.
believe it,
You needed to match the lifestyle. Okay, so a
No,
couple
you
things.
don't.
Do you guys
I,
feel like legal issues are a part of sort of the delay here in getting the kind of music that we want? Because we spoke about that a few weeks ago. And then do you think that, if together as a group this isn't working, they would have successful solo careers now based on how those solo releases went?
No, so I think you know, life happens. You know what I mean? It happens for all of us, and you can never when you dealing with real shit, and I'm pretty sure because everybody goes through real shit. It's not to be spoken about, tweeted about, or posted on Instagram.
Mhm.
When those things happen, they can kind of deter you from your path. Now, as far as them having, I think that's the only thing that might be holding them up. As far as them having solo career, that shit is not going to work. Cause I mean, I enjoyed the Offset album because I'm a father as well, and I felt like he touched on a few things, but that shit ain't really hit the way everybody thought it would. Neither did the Quavo album. Yo, people forgot about that shit. I think the most memorable thing about the Quavo album is the album cover. Takeoff, a lot of people say about Takeoff, like he dropped the album. Like people don't even remember that those moments because it happened so fast, and for each one of them, they didn't go on no real promo. I think Offset probably did the most promo, out of his. But when did we see Quavo do a promo run for his solo album or Takeoff for his? They have to be the Migos again. You know what I mean? Like they have to be the Migos again to have success. It's not gonna work solo for them.
let me answer this question by also even touching on the last answer and even countering the point that Wado made 2 points ago. When I was talking about optics, like yeah, the content kind of got a match. Lil Baby, if you ask me, is the second biggest rap star in the world, behind Drake. He still seems like he's a street nigga. Still seems like the music he's making, he's in that element still. He doesn't seem removed. That's all I'm saying. I do think that's one of the issues plaguing the Migos, but beyond that, they're both on the same label. It seems at this point you have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to not realize there is something not they're not in cohesion. The second hottest rapper, according to me, in the world, Baby, and the Migos. They don't collaborate. They don't shout each other out. They don't help each other out. Remember how QC used to rock when the Migos was cold? We saw, or they were going through their shit with 300, and they were about to transition over to Motown Capital. What did we see? We saw Yachty, who was already at Motown QC. He basically assisted them, kept the brand afloat. We saw when Yachty got a little bit cold, of course, the Migos assisted him. They threw him on the Ice Tray song. They threw him on many songs. They gave him the Peekaboo. We're not seeing the same synergy with Baby. Baby's the hottest artist. You're one of the hottest groups ever to come in hip hop history. Needs probably one or two songs to really start a rollout to build some momentum, and they can't tap their label mate. They got to go to Young Boy and everywhere else. I think
Well, I
that's the
don't think
problem.
they got to. I think they make a choice to go to like. It's not no secret that they've never shouted "Baby" out and none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not no secret. We can see that. I just think that they make a conscious decision to not use or work with Baby, and vice versa. I mean, if they wasn't working with him when he was on his up and up, you think it's going to happen now? It's definitely not going to happen now. So I just think that like that's their decision for whatever decision they whatever reason they choose to make that decision. But beyond a fucking working with a Baby or beyond working with a Young Boy or anybody else, bro, we fuck with the Migos for the Migos. Like let's not forget
No, that's true.
all the hits that they gave us without any features. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that they don't need to go back in the band and cook up to make some music. But I think that the way that they're going in their careers is might be a culmination of them not really being together like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it might be them not just
And,
being
and
around each other.
well, I'm trying to speak from their perspective as I see lawsuits fly, even though it's about the lawyers and whoever else that were supposedly double dipping or whatever the case is or had conflict of interest. I then look at that to say, interesting. I could imagine the Migos probably also there's like we've seen them all unfollow P at one point. Now they follow back. Maybe there's some strained relationships with them and their label. The first telltale sign a rapper is seen, or they finally, it's like Superman when he finally sees himself bleed, like he can't believe it, right? It's like when a rapper is hot, like it's like you're immortal. The first brick you catch, it's like, oh shit, wait, we not that hot no more. The first people they usually look to blame, the label.
Mm.
QC seems very invested in Baby. He's dropping every day, every week. He's in the top 5 for like last 6 months. I don't know if those add to, complications in maybe how they're thinking about stuff, how the music is being put out, how, again, other stuff I said, people are perceiving it. I think it's a mixed bag, but are they on the clock? 100%.
Okay. All right. So it seems like you're both giving them till the end of the year to show and prove that they can get some momentum.
I need a banging single or something.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you for the fan question. That was a great fan question. We are out of time. But of course, we'll be back here tomorrow at the same time on Complex. Thank you for watching Everyday Struggle.